James, I don't want to alarm you, but there is someone in the shadows watching you.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are having a good day. What's up, Dan? I see you lurking. I hope you're doing good, man. I'm about to try some Alaskan Road Truckers. There's been so many updates since I played on day one of its release, so I'm looking forward to seeing if it's a lot more optimized, if I can actually progress the game a little bit more. I'm not going to do the steering wheel for it. It just seems like at this point in time, it doesn't seem like it's worth it to even try and set that up. So we're going to go with a controller today on it. Unless somebody else who was an expert in the game recently can give me some more information on it. Otherwise, we're just going to try it with a controller and see where we end up. Maybe there's some other games down the pipeline. I don't know. I'm just going to try and enjoy myself. And we're also going to get some things set up here. And make sure my YouTube is doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, stream's going. Looks like it's having an excellent connection. There we go. We're also going to look into, or we're going to listen to something while I'm playing the game too. There is a video about the completionist and the charity stuff, and I kind of wanted to get a little bit more of insight on that. So yeah, we're going to learn some stuff. So we're going to pause our music. We're going to let this video rip, and then we're just going to try and figure out what we can.
Making donations and that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been. It took too long for clear action to occur, and I apologize for all of this.
Now, I've been pretty vocal about waiting for a response from Gerard, and while I understand legal matters often put a gag into your mouth during incredibly sensitive situations like this, I was pretty surprised to see a response yesterday in general, but what was really wild to me was how some of the individuals, at least on Twitter, and again, I don't use Twitter as an intelligent metric, actually took this as a somewhat exonerating response, when it actually paints more contradictions into the light. So I'm here to offer my response to Gerard's response with receipts, something that I personally believe Gerard did not do at all in his video. I never saw one bank statement, never saw one evidence of money flow. It was an entire story of me just taking him at his word, which I will once again prove in this video that you cannot take Gerard at his word. He is proven to be somebody that is deceptive. Let me explain exactly how this works. Gerard provided receipts in his video, okay? If you look at the description to his video, if you look carefully into this description, one thing you'll notice is it's mostly just links to the AFDD website, the IRS, and various definition websites when it comes to these specific donations, or I guess definitions of a restricted or an unrestricted donation, or how the IRS determines differences between private and public foundations. There are only 4 actual pieces of evidence provided by Gerard in these Google Drive links that are an autopsy report regarding his late mother, which honestly had no reason to come out. You've got a OHF termination of private status letter. You've got one letter that I guess, at least to me, looks like a continuance or something, which we'll get into, and an OHF audit letter by the IRS. So we're going to look into each 4 of these pieces of evidence and see just how much new information and clarification and transparency that they really provide. Let's go. So I opened up this letter over here and I read this very carefully, okay? So this is from the Internal Revenue Service, where basically they have a dear applicant. The applicant is Open Hand Foundation. We've received your notification of intent to terminate your private foundation under the IRC
thank you,
Section
Tay.
507B1B.
I've tried.
During the 60
I've tried.
listed at the top of the letter.
Looks
That
like a little bit
60-month
more
period is
optimizations
starting
happen.
from January 1st, 2016, and it ends December 31st, 2020. So again, in this situation, we're going to read all of it because this video will be long, but I'm going to fill it with as many receipts and contradictions as I reasonably can. This letter could help resolve questions on your foundation status. Please keep it for your records. I wish we saw this letter more than 24 hours ago. I wish this letter was posted on the Open Hand Foundation's website, a website that still does not have the AFTD, a website they gave $600,000 to over a week ago, listed in their beneficiaries. This is a website that should have had this information plastered. If your golf event can have your tax ID letter easily accessible, this information should have been posted for me and anybody researching this to logically assess. Then I wouldn't even have to question your private and public charity. In his response video, he really touched upon that point when it wasn't really even that massive of a point. All right, I noticed that they probably should be filing a 990 form, a 990 EZ, because they are a public charity, right? That
Well,
is
it
what
looks
they
like
want
it's
to go
running
as.
better.
Why would they
Definitely.
continue to
The
file a
stream was
form
struggle busting
990
last time
EF
through this.
if they're no longer a exempt private foundation? And again, this letter, if I saw it, I would have just believed them. I would have been like, all right, it makes sense. You asked for a notice of change. And the IRS
I've been trying to
listened
keep
it.
my
They even
weight
said,
the same,
based
but
on your
working a job in
proposed
a
activities and
food
support, we
place
agree you can terminate
is
your private
very
foundation
difficult when
status.
it's all fried
Literally, you told
food
them that
and you
wanted
don't
to run Indie Land, I
have
assume,
time
or
to
one
go
of these
out and
events,
eat your
and they were
own
like, sure,
lunch
if that's
because
how
of
you
the
wanna
job
run it, then
position
you're
I'm
running a
in.
private
So
foundation.
it's
You're a
like,
public one. So they even say within 90 days
yeah,
after
I'm just
the
trying
end
to
of your
keep my
60-month
weight
period,
the
you
same
must
at this
show you met the
point. I
requirements
do
as
want
a
to
public
lose
charity
more,
described in
but
IRC section
I gotta
509.81
practice
2 or 3
self-control on
for the
this
60-month
first.
period. If you show this, you'll be classified under that section for all purposes from the beginning of the 60-month period and thereafter. Gerard refers to the last section of this video, this letter, where he writes, you're required to file Form 990-PF, Return of Private Foundation, or Section 4947A1 Trust, treated as private foundation until you complete your 60-month termination and are classified as a public charity.
In March of 2016, the IRS acknowledged the receipt for termination of private status and indicated to the Open Hand Foundation the necessary requirements the foundation must follow in order to comply with the IRS code. A copy of those notices are also down below with supporting IRS documentation. Further, based on the acknowledgement of the private status termination, the foundation was now required to operate like a public charity as described in the IRS code for a period of 16 months. However, the foundation was also instructed to continue to file as if it were a private foundation. Any possible issues pertaining to such filings can only be considered clerical errors and are in no way intended to be misleading, fraudulent, or criminal in any nature.
Now, to understand, this actually adds even more questions to the situation. If your period ended December 31st, 2020, when you look to the years 2021 and again 2022, according to their public filings here, right, that we have, what is seen over here is that this is still a P990PF, or sorry, 990PF form, which again, according to the Internal Revenue Service, when you look at the annual filings and forms, I wish you put this link into your actual
It definitely doesn't have the
YouTube description.
ATS
This will be
quality for
important,
controls
Gerard.
and different
I feel
things
like
like
most people
that,
should be
but
reading this.
it's
When you
still
go to
a
which
different,
form should I use?
it's
By
a
going to
different
this, they
thing.
list
It's its
numerous
own
forms,
thing. It's
990
definitely
PF,
not
which is for
to be
private foundations,
compared.
but importantly, the 990, the 990
SCS
and the
Software has
990
created
N.
2
Again,
amazing
reading into
simulators
who
for
should
Trucking
file a
Life,
Form 990,
so
but
those
one of the
have
tips that the IRS
their
has
own
given,
right
ooh,
and their
don't
own
get
professionalism
crazy
to
here.
it.
A
This
public
one
charity
just still has
described
room
under
to
Section
grow, and I think it's a
170B1A4,
very small team that are
that
doing their
isn't
best
within
on
its
it.
initial
So
5 years of existence should first complete Part 2 or 3 of Schedule A, Form 990, to ensure that it continues to qualify as a public charity for the tax year. If it fails to qualify as a public charity, then it must file for a Form 990PF rather than a Form 990 or a Form 990EZ. So again, even looking into their letter that Gerard graciously provided, the 60-day period was from 2016 to 2020. Looking at the tax filings for 2016, 2017, 2018, one thing that isn't checked here, at least, is if the foundation is in a 60-month termination under Section 507B1B, check here. This is in 2016. You can see that in 2017 even, that tick wasn't filed. In 2018, that tick also wasn't filed. However, looking at the letter that Gerard provided, dear applicant, we received your notification of intent to terminate your private foundation status under IRC Section 507B1B during the 60-month period listed at the top of this letter. So even within that 60-month termination period under Section 507B1B, this box wasn't ticked. So why wasn't this done again? And why wasn't in 2021 and 2022 these forms weren't filed under a standard 990 or a 990EZ? Unless, of course, they went back to this private foundation designation and they're filing under this. Again, Gerard mentions something known as clerical errors, like, hey, there's nothing malicious about it.
well,
These are
my
just clerical
depression
errors. I wanna
and
remind
trying to
you that
figure
this
out
whole investigation was built
my
upon
own mental
looking at
health.
these
It was
various
good to get out of the
clerical
other
errors.
job
And again,
and
the
to
IRS
try and
asked
push
them to
myself to
investigate
thrive
the
in
audit.
something
It's not
different,
proof
and I
of
have.
any malfeasance that I'm
I've also
like,
hit a
done
lot of
my
obstacles and
investigation. It's me
stuff,
looking at
so
these filings and asking
that
even the
journey to
IRS
self-improvement
how they managed to
is
let this go
very
unchecked
difficult.
for so long. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in this entire situation, one thing
I'm
want
just
to
glad I have
understand-
someone who's very supportive of all my
Now, the audit
mess,
was never the
and
smoking gun during this video.
you know,
might be
things
like,
will
"Whoa,
get
what are you
better."
talking about, Muda?" An audit literally exists to prove if you've got money sitting in an account. As of a week ago, roughly, the Open Hand Foundation donated $600,000 to the AFTD Foundation. Now remember, if you look through the entire original investigations, even if you look into the very recent pieces where we looked into their golf revenues, Twitch revenues, IndieLand revenues, the question that I was raising to the table is that, honestly, I just need to see if the revenues all match up. There's no accusations of embezzlement as much as Gerard would like to mention. It's just more me trying to actually get some answers. Remember, charities are supposed to be open books, and they're supposed to itemize everything imaginable. The moment when you have buckets just listed as expenses and whatnot, the reason why an audit is asked for is just to make sure that that information is above board and it's all there.
We believe we're done with selfish intent. They have directly jeopardized the safety of me, my staff, and my family, and that is not okay. I want to reiterate and specifically address that both the Foundation and I have been accused of forgery, embezzlement, and charity fraud. The allegations imply the Foundation forged tax returns because they weren't physical signatures on them when we e-filed them, or that we altered numbers to hide income
Yeah,
or
I've been
expenses.
through hell and back many times, doing my best,
that
and I
holds
appreciate
weight,
the
though,
support,
that
man.
part.
Just trying to
The underreporting
keep my
part
head above water
is
and
there, like, the math
find
did
ways
not.
to ease the stress, like
proven.
playing games, doing
That was
streams.
proven. The math
Always a
did
fun,
not
happy
match
spot for me,
the
so
prior year.
I'm glad I get to
I'm
continue
not talking
doing
about
that.
this year, 'cause this year isn't finished.
I do
Return
work
isn't
a
filed
job
for
that
23,
does
because
take away
23 is not
from
over.
that, which
Talk about
sucks.
prior years.
But I think every
The
job
math for
the
prior
past
years
year has
doesn't
taken
matter
away
based
from,
on
you know,
reasonable assumptions
what makes me
made by
happy and
calculating
what I really like
price
to
per
enjoy
admission to the
doing.
golf tournament
So
with related.
that's a never changing thing.
Like they showed the banner, and it was like the diamond level supporters or whatever, which we know cost X amount of dollars. There were this many of them, and like a fourth grader could have done the math and realized there's money missing. So, yes, you haven't proven anything about the years where it can be proven with I mean really solid, and still I say proven. There's very reasonable assumptions based on the information available.
But yeah,
And
my post
after
in
they
Discord
donated
also wasn't me saying I'm
$600,000,
giving up
I'm
streaming or
really
anything. It
finding
just says I
it
miss
makes
it.
any
I'm still gonna do it.
audit
It's
or
just
the
gonna be
IRS.
sporadic until
But that doesn't
I can
exclude
find a
any of
normalcy
the
in
charity
my
fraud
life to be able to do it
allegations
as
whatsoever. And what I mean by
frequent as
that
I want to while
is the
balancing my
misleading
home
statements
life.
that Gerard made throughout the course of Indieland and on various podcasts.
That's the fun of
He briefly
work.
touches upon it during this entire
You have to
response
live
video.
around work, it feels
And he
like
uses
sometimes, and I
careful words
hate
like
that.
potentially misleading.
I
Or,
miss the way
"I'm
I
sorry,
used to
you
be
guys," or,
of
"You guys
making
felt
work
misled."
During
work
several
around
recent
life,
Indieland
if that
events,
makes sense.
press interviews, and podcasts, I went on record saying where the money was going to, and that the Open Hand Foundation had worked with various organizations. At different points, the foundation had been in communication with or considered several of them, but it was not appropriate for me to make such statements when final actions had not yet been taken. The Open Hand Foundation's goal was to make a large impact by donating the money to the right place. And a lot of the conversations that were had with various organizations involved the funds not being restricted or came with extremely high administrative costs. Look, any way you say this, action needed to be taken. And to that point, I'm sorry. I'm disappointed that I was not more straightforward regarding the foundation's timeline for making donations, and that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been. It took too long for clear action to occur, and I apologize for all of this. But such inaction was not done for any selfish or malicious reasons. I want to take this opportunity to apologize to any developers, publishers, content creators, and special guests who were involved with the various events. I'm also very sorry to this year's Indieland sponsor. Their team was incredibly supportive and were a great partner to work with. Most importantly, I want to apologize to anyone who ever donated over the years who felt they were wronged or led astray by any of this.
Let's look at the actual statements once again, the statements that he never showed in his original video, and just see how potentially misleading those statements are.
Brother and I started a foundation called the Open Hand Foundation that raises money for dementia research and treatment for organizations all over the world. We're soon going to be partnering up with the Alzheimer's Association, currently working with the University of San Francisco, and we're kind of one of their main funding support partners going into all of this.
And that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been.
All bits, all donations, all super chats, all YouTube memberships, basically anything that's tied to donating or subscribing in a financial way to us is going to charity. We're not touching any of it. It's all going for a good cause. We're going to have a great weekend. We have a lot of games.
And that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been.
All the money goes to the Open Hand Foundation, an organization that we started in honor of my mom, and all that money goes to dementia research. We don't touch any of it. We just work with the people who do need the money, and we help them do their thing.
And that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been.
We are raising money for dementia research in honor of my late mom, trying to help folks who've been impacted by dementia, working with organizations like USF, FTD Association of America, Alzheimer's Association of America, and so many more.
And that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been.
Do our own version of that every year and kind of make it a cool celebration of games and raise money for charity. And so he was like, I wish we had a charity that we could donate to. And I was like, oh, I run my own charity called the Open Hand Foundation, and all the money that we aggregate, I started it when I was a young boy with my dad in honor of my mom who had dementia. And so we just every year we try and raise as much money as possible, and then we go work with, you know, Alzheimer's Association of America, University of San Francisco, Association for FTD, which is what my mom had, FTD. So we've like worked with big and small organizations across the board. And he was like, it'd be really cool if we did a show all about raising money for people who are making huge headways in dementia research and prevention and all that stuff. And I
Yo,
said, yeah,
Emily,
I'd love to.
what's up?
We have the organization.
Thank you for
to do
joining
it.
the
We
stream.
just, you know, need to come up with a theme. And
Just
so,
listening to
Yeah, I was gonna say that people
some
were
YouTube
potentially
drama
misled after
and
statements
trying to
as
play this
charged
trucking
with
game
this
and
fact.
hopefully
Again,
get
looking
things
at the
worked out.
definition
I
of
hope you're
charity
doing
fraud,
good.
fraudulent
I see
activity
you over there in this
involving
side of the chat.
or inflated claims about how much money they've raised or
Yeah,
how
and
much
Tate,
helped
it's
the
fun
cause. And one of the
being an
common ways
adult
is
and
pretending
having
to be a charity or
family.
falsely claiming to be affiliated with a legitimate charity in order to solicit donations. We actually saw names that were being named. I'm surprised why Gerard didn't at least address this point. It was the most common, it was the heart of the argument, which just seems like it was deflected. And sure, he can say that I apologize to people who felt that they were misled. No, I don't think you can say that these are potentially misleading. Again, there is another statement in this that I want to get into, but let's look at the other evidence that Gerard has posted in his description real quick. The other response that Gerard gives is this one link right under the OHF termination of private status. There's no description to what this is, but opening this piece of evidence, it's the IRS extend time to assess excise taxes, which again is all related to the Open Hand Foundation being the taxpayer of, I guess, whatever redacted area this is. And again, this is the amount of liability for Chapter 42 excise tax imposed on the taxpayer by Section 4940 or 4945 of the Internal Revenue Code during the period January 1st, 2016 to 2020. And it may be assessed at any time on or before May 5th, 2025. So again, this is page 2 of 2, and there's not actually a first page that I can see. What does this provide? Even watching Gerard's response video and scrubbing all the way through it like 10 times, I could not find this exact receipt shown. He put it in the description. I ask, what the fuck is it even there for? Cool, you asked for a consent to extend the time to assess miscellaneous excise taxes. That's great. It seems like you filed some continuation. Again, what relevance does this have to the public-private charity? It just exists there to exist. Then, of course, he provided the last piece of evidence, which, again, from his end, is the OHF audit. So here you can read that they've gotten this audit stamped, and again, April 12, 2016. What's important is they're literally looking at tax periods ending December 31st, 2014. Dear sir or madam, based on our audit of the tax periods listed above, you continue to qualify for exemption from federal income tax under Section 501c3 of the IRC. What bearing this has to the question of the charitable foundation after 2014, it makes no sense. Yeah, you were cool before 2014. I can actually acknowledge it because the IRS claims that based on their audit for the tax period, December 31st, 2014, that's when they ended assessing. You're good and gravy. And at the end of the day, even if they had a 2022 tax period ended, it would have absolutely quelled me personally when it comes to wondering about the money and the finances, because an audit literally just proves that the money was absolutely moved around properly. It would never actually address the main criticism, which is that the money was actually solicited through, I would say, misleading statements, actual misleading statements. And I've shown you an amalgamation of it. One of those misleading statements is actually so bad that we're going to assess it once more. He mentions that the statements that he was making in regards to the Indieland fundraiser, when he was up there talking about, yeah, we work with so-and-so organization, yeah, we're so-and-so's funding partner, these were potentially implying that donations had been made when they had not yet been. That is fucking legally speak, and that is you literally trying to downplay actual misleading claims, which is where we looked into charity fraud as a definition. Again, I want to reiterate, charity fraud, according to the Legal Match definition that I have over here, says that when someone takes advantage of a charitable or nonprofit organization for their own personal gain. Fraud is defined as intentional deception or misrepresentation made for personal gain. Defrauding a charity can be anything from falsely claiming to be a victim of a disaster in order to get money from a charity, or stealing donations from the collection tin. Fraudulent activity can also occur when the people make dishonest or inflated claims about how much money they've raised or how much it helps the cause. Some of the most common ways to commit charity fraud include pretending to be a charity or falsely claiming to be affiliated with a legitimate charity in order to solicit donations. making false representations about the cause or the amount of money that will be donated to the cause. So again, if he was blatantly honest during IndieLand about, yeah, we're not actually donating the money this fucking year to AFTD and a lot of these organizations, we're just kind of stockpiling this money up so we can make a big restricted donation later, there would be no fucking story, okay?
Nope.
The whole story exists because people were misled into believing that their money was going year over year to charity when it was really just fucking sitting in an account. That's the real story right there. That's where the money was handled poorly. That's what is the proof that Gerard is not only deceptive in this situation, but he's also a poor steward of the fucking donation money, right? That's literally the actual crux of the argument. Now, I want to bring light into one specific statement that he made in particular that really hit me.
Brother and I started a foundation called the Open Hand Foundation that raises money for dementia research and treatment for organizations all over the world. We're soon going to be partnering up with the Alzheimer's Association, currently working with the University of San Francisco, and we're kind of one of their main funding support partners going into all of this.
So, currently working with the University of San Francisco, and we're one of the main funding partners for them, one of the main support partners. Think about the layers to that statement once again. Ladies and gentlemen, in IndieLand 2022, this is where this clip was from, he confirms that he's working with the UCSF. That's a confirmation right there. And even goes as far as to saying they're the main funding partners. That means that he has to know that they're actively sending money to this organization, and they're sending money at such a level that they would be considered the upper echelons of the UCSF's donors in general. To reiterate again, per the initial correspondence, Jacques Khalil, who represented the Open Hand Foundation, writing to us, mentions the UCSF as a historical contribution. So again, while they're still evaluating charities that fit their utopian worldview, somebody is fucking lying in this situation, okay? And for Gerard to publicly state that in 2022 is incredibly wrong. The definition of charity fraud that I keep reiterating involves when that fraudulent activity can occur when you make those dishonest or inflated claims about the money that is being raised and how much it has helped the cause and exactly what your organization is doing. Again, Gerard never played that fucking clip in his video. I don't know why. I feel like you should address this clip. If you made a misstatement, at least admit to the misstatement, right? It really felt like when they're talking about potentially misleading, I don't think it's potentially misleading. That's pretty fucking misleading. I'll just say, personally speaking. And again, to reiterate from the original video is that if Gerard was honest about them raising money with the intention of stockpiling it for a larger donation, this wouldn't be an issue. But over the course of the last couple of years, the amount of misleading statements about his involvement with other organizations have been alarming. It's a clear contradiction to what he tells the public during his event versus what the organization at least told us privately in writing when we inquired about the situation from them, which is that they're still evaluating organization. They even asked if me and Carl, investigating into the situation, would even recommend any charities to them. Like, dog, how the fuck would why should I do your job for you is the question now I ask. But again, it's even worse when in the call he admits he found about all of this in 2022 and realized something was very wrong.
I knew it was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it. Like,
do you know when that point was?
I was made aware in 2021 when the money hadn't moved yet. Okay. And that's what made me go, that's not fucking cool. And that's when I got personally involved to move it. And
did anyone
2021 last year, 2022.
Yeah, did anyone tell you that the money was going somewhere before then? Were you being misled?
No. No one told me anything. I assumed that it was all going to a charity, and I assumed incorrectly.
So even after he found out in 2022, he proceeds to host IndieLand 2023, and very recently on a Friends Per Second podcast, admits that the Open Hand raises money and works with listed organizations while telling us in writing that they're...
I started it when I was a young boy with my dad in honor of my mom who had dementia. And so we just, every year we try and raise as much money as possible. And then we go work with, Alzheimer's Association of America, University of San Francisco, Association for FTD, which is what my mom had, FTD. So we've worked with big and small organizations across the board. And he was like, it'd be really cool if we did a show all about raising money for people who are making huge headways in dementia research and prevention and all that stuff. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. We have the organization to do it. We just, need to come up with a theme. And so
This is what I don't understand. Why can't he respond to this exact clip even? This is well after, around Indieland 2023, after he's found out about this mishandling of money, okay? The fact that the money hasn't been going anywhere. Why does he continue to list actual names of these charities, by and large, while behind the scenes, as of a month ago, the actual written correspondence by Jacques Khalil literally came out and said to
Yo,
us
Panda,
that
what's
they were
up?
still evaluating charities, okay? Even Gerard admitted to us, I'm looking as forward as donating this money as soon as I can.
I literally am about to donate all this money today, and prior to that, earlier this week and the week before, and I've just been sitting here crippled trying to figure out the best way to handle this, because I felt like if I donated the money the minute you guys emailed me, it'd be a situation of, well, he's trying to hide it and he's admitting guilt by doing that. And I never felt that way, but I understand completely that you guys could easily argue that, and it would just make me look more like a scumbag.
So in this response, despite Gerard and his team chalking up these clerical errors, and even if they are financially and legally in the right, somehow he just still steps away from the organization's board. And he says that if Indieland goes forward, he's taken away the charity component, as he clearly should. Gerard has been shown as a poor steward of the money that has been donated by his fans, and he has no reality being near a charity.
Check that out, Panda.
Then he in this video mentions the point of electronic signatures, since that was a massive point in the original videos anyways. It wasn't. And why they don't have to be present like signatures on an electronic filing, and it makes sense. That's not even a damning accusation that was made, at least as far as my reporting had went. So I fail to see the relevance of why he made such a huge deal of it here. Now, in his entire response, he does claim that he was working with charities and organizations, and they were in correspondence to discuss charities. And even in a discussion with us on a clip, he was, in fact, in communication. He wanted these charities to show up and, basically at the event and discuss themselves and the relation to the open hand. I mean, just listen to this. For us, it's like when you say that you've been in talks with these organizations, what do you mean in talks? Is it like a long-term partnership? Couldn't you have written them a check right there and then for this specific year, and then year after year, the money comes in and out?
Yeah, the idea was we wanted to donate the money to an organization so that they could send a representative or someone from their organization
for
to come
Nightingale.
forward and talk about all the good that we've done working with them and making them the new benefactor that we've been looking for.
Yeah,
or
Nightingale
multiple
looks pretty sick.
depending on the amount of money that was donated.
So if he has this correspondence, please produce the email receipts, right? At the end of the day, he made this response video that was apparently possessed with all these receipts, if I'm to believe people on Twitter. And in reality, there are 4 pieces of evidence that he put in the description. He never showed a single email chain in his video that proves that he was in communication with these organizations. That's all you needed to shut me and Carl up, or anybody that was accusing you. Just show the fucking receipts. You know why we showed the calls and our correspondence with the Open Hand Foundation, the emails, the written statements in our previous videos? It's because without receipts, our claims have no validity. You cannot take what I say at surface value. If I don't provide receipts, you, as a viewer, should question me on any statement that I make. That's just logical. Again, for Gerard to make this video without providing any of these receipts and downplaying the misleading statements that he made is so fucking
if I
legally,
can't find
it's
the
just
oil sump?
legalese at this point. Again, if you had evidence of your discussions with these organizations, please present an email correspondence with these organizations. So then he mentions the unrestricted, restricted donation types, which, again, we were mentioning throughout the course of this investigation, especially towards after the first initial video. So he mentions the difference between donation types, how restricted donations typically are going towards specific causes in a charity versus unrestricted donations that the charity, when you give it to them, are fully allowed to take, whatever, they're fully allowed to allocate that money wherever it goes. So why didn't he mention in his own video, again, let me play it, when he says that his foundation raised funds in an unrestricted manner with the intention to restrict donations?
The Open Hand Foundation raised funds in an unrestricted manner with the intention to restrict a larger donation towards dementia research. Larger restricted donations ensure clear measures and direction, but can take time.
So again, why wasn't this mentioned in any public event? If you found out things were wrong in 2022, why didn't in Indieland 2023 did you make a public statement that said, yeah guys, the money that I thought was being sent, it's actually still with us, but we are actually planning to send it in a restricted donation. So we just need to raise more money and then we can send it all as one lump sum and do some serious change and move the needle, quote unquote. Why did you not just say that? If you were honest, we wouldn't have a story to cover. The fact that this wasn't relayed and you still mentioned charities as of weeks ago, you still mentioned these
I've watched
charities
a bit
when
on
you were still
Nightingale. Looks
evaluating
awesome.
them.
Yeah, the Game
evaluating
Awards
them
did
to
really
us in
good with
writing
it last year.
clear misstatements to the public. You should have been very forthcoming about all of this. And again, why is it that you're so cool talking about this in your response video when literally about a month ago, if you were go back to our Discord call together, all three of us,
I love
you
that
said,
though.
That's not fucking cool when you found out about this situation and you got personally involved to move it.
I knew it was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it. Like,
Do you know when that point was?
I was made aware in 2021 when the money hadn't moved yet. Okay. And that's what made me go, that's not fucking cool. And that's when I got personally involved to move it. And
did anyone
2021 last year, 2022.
Yeah, did anyone tell you that the money was going somewhere before then? Were you being misled?
No. No one told me anything. I assumed that it was all going to a charity, and I assumed incorrectly.
Again, if this was the intention to have a mass restricted donation, why not just tell us in the call? Either you lied to us then, or you're lying to us now. And what about this point where you wanted somebody to come out and talk up your event as well too? It doesn't sound like that's part of a restricted donation. It sounds like you were looking for a partnership where I guess you were both benefiting each other from a public relations standpoint. Why wasn't this mentioned in this? If your long-term goal is a restricted donation, why are
so this must be the customization workshop
to that intended goal? Why are you shocked that the money is there? You could have told us in that Discord call, hey guys, the money is supposed to be there.
Seen some info on the playtest they've done, and it looks like they've progressed a lot.
There can only be one truth, and I ask if this was truly a long-term intention that you should have calmly relayed to us in a Discord call that we had, and this would have easily quelled me. Instead, you chose to tell me that's not fucking cool when you find out, right? And also, I just want to ask about the full call itself. I don't have any issues releasing this full call. If Gerard is okay and Carl are okay consenting to releasing this call in full, I personally don't care. This call should be out if these people feel comfortable. Again, the only reason that call was not released is because there is some off-the-record components of the call in regards to the mother of the situation. This new narrative doesn't really work when Gerard refers to us in that call, and this is a clip we've never heard yet, where he refers that we were one of the primary reasons the money needed to be moved and why they were looking at moving the money as quick as they did. You don't believe me,
Maybe this
right?
is the repair shop.
Right
I gotta fix that oil sump, so I don't know what the hell I do.
The money, as far as your understanding, that $660,000 roughly is still sitting in your that charity account, waiting for a benefactor at the right time.
I mean, as of this week, we've been having conversations about moving it as early as today or tomorrow, just because the pressure I got from you guys, if I'm being quite honest. Not that I was trying to save face, but like, this is a private fight that I've been dealing with for months with my family, and I even told my family, hey, this is the last Indieland I'm ever going to do, because this is the 10th year anniversary of my mom's passing, and when I kind of found all this information out, I was very unhappy with what things were going, and the ramifications of this are going to be massive for everything I've ever done in the space. And
so we were apparently one of the main reasons, and there was a private fight with the dad and the family. If the money was always intended to be restricted, why the fuck would you not relay this to any of us in that call, all right? I would have probably believed you and said, it's probably a restricted donation. Well, you should probably have been more forthcoming about that to the public. But when you keep telling us privately how when you found out, that's not fucking cool. This is a private fight between my dad, family, and whatnot. Again, it really sounds like you guys aren't on the same page, really. So I ask, what is the truth of the situation? So inside this, he mentions the fundraiser foundation's expenses explicitly include the golf fundraiser and Indieland operational costs and various fees for the last 9 years have totaled up to $178,951.17. We're getting down to the pennies at this point.
The foundation's expenses include costs for the golf fundraiser and Indieland, operational costs, and various fees, totaling for $178,951.17 worth of expenses over the last 9 years. It's also factually inaccurate that all of the money the foundation received in 2023 is unaccounted for.
Now, I don't know why he's jumping to 2023. Even in my most recent video, when I talk about the donation that they made, the $600,000, the closest I even go into it when I mention, of course, the audit is that obviously I want to know the full accounting of the money there. Because they made those donations, I do firmly believe that they could probably pass the audit. They obviously have the funds, and I believe that they probably are sitting in their account, okay? I just want to see a full breakdown. As they are a public charity, they should give an exact dollar amount. These books should not be pried from their hands. They should be opened in their hands, so to speak. But ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the 2023 funds, the $600,000 that they're giving.
What's this
obviously
podcast?
isn't
This is
complete
the
amount. There still needs to
Some
be an
Ordinary
audit
Gamers.
done on their charity
He's talking
just for
about the
various other income sources
completionist.
to be properly audited, assessed. But the thing about this whole thing that I'm also wondering is the money that is probably raised from something like Indieland 2023, which we haven't even seen reflected in the books, but obviously would be part of their accounting, should be donated, at least hopefully in due time, to the other charities that were named too. Remember, donating to charity, in my opinion, isn't enough. You should be donating to the charities you've listed and named. Because remember, if their name was good enough to publicly use, then you should absolutely ethically donate to them. No matter what the amount is, just give money to these charities. Remember, that's what it's all about. The most I could even say about that is obviously it's going to be part of the mix, but you can't speculate or even like assume, which you shouldn't be doing in the first place, but you can't even reasonably jump into 2023. Why? Because there's no actual filing yet of 2023. To jump down and start breaking down the expenses and revenues and whatnot for 2023, a year that hasn't been publicly filed and is up for download and view for the public record, is just something
So
that
the
would be
completionist had the
wild
Open Hand
speculation,
Foundation.
which is why jumping into that was pointless.
He created
There's
it in
plenty
honor of his
information
mom
from
with her
2022
fight
that
against
you can
dementia,
reasonably assess,
and he wanted to do
you know,
something
come to
special to
reasonable conclusions.
do that, and he has the Indieland event that happens that in turn supported his foundation that would go to research and development of studies for people that handle dementia. Those funds were never spent for the past 10 years, and they were just sitting in the bank account, and a lot of people felt ripped off because that wasn't going to research. But then they put out specifics of what kind of organization it was, what kind of restrictions on the donations it was, and how big the donation had to be. He didn't communicate all that, and he kept saying he was direct supporters of foundations that said, hey, he never donated a cent. Why is he saying, you know, his foundation is the main supporter of our charities, of our, you know, studies and departments? And it is just really poopy.
An expense sheet. If you're itemizing and you're down to the dollar, clearly you have this information. And I just want to see it. I think most people want to see it. And you're a public charity, you should be showing it. It shouldn't be pried from your hands. So again, it contradicts on what these filings have even been for the last 9 years, where again, according to their actual filings, we're looking at somewhere around $125,000. So these are expenses that I tabulated up from 2015. Remember, 2014 actually had no expenses. So this all adds up to $125,000.
I got a bot over here on
Kick.
Ooh,
In the last 9
interesting.
years. So 2015, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
According
7, 8.
to
Now,
Some
again,
Ordinary
obviously being
Gamer,
a public charity,
and looking at the public records of the charity where they do have to list if the funds are there, funds are moved, the money just hasn't simply been spent. There were taxes and expenses of a small amount,
of the 9 years, it would be $0. So
but
you have the books, you have the accounting. Just again, if you could show us the receipts, that's all anybody would have asked. It would easily shut people up. Another key mention here is when he talks about the Twitch bits and subscriptions. And along with merch and various sales, these offset production costs.
Income from Twitch subscriptions and bits, along with merchandise, have offset some of the production costs. So to say the money is missing is simply wrong. Also, to be clear, IndieLand does not make money on YouTube. We typically stream only on Twitch. And when we did simulcast to YouTube, we made little to no money.
If we actually look into the IndieLand branding right here, you can see that when it comes to at least IndieLand 2023 and IndieLand 2022, on the branding on their own public videos on YouTube, they write that all bits, subs, donations go to the Open Hand Foundation, right? So all bits, subs, donations, all of that touches the Open Hand Foundation. They also mentioned that simulcasting to YouTube, they made little to no money. Again, what is little to no money? That could mean a lot of, that's a pretty subjective statement. Is it $0? Is it like $50? What is the accounting there? And here's the thing, there were no receipts of any of these income sources, right? We never saw like a year-by-year receipt of how many Twitch bits they made, the cut that went to Amazon, and all of this shit. We're just supposed to take him at his word. And it contradicts when he said none of that money he makes from Twitch or any of these sources goes to them. They take 0% and not a penny. So how can you publicly say you're not touching a single penny from this money? And then now, in a response video, claim that, yeah, some of it is offsetting production costs. Come on, don't you guys know?
Income from Twitch subscriptions and bits, along with merchandise, have offset some of the production costs.
All bits, all donations, all super chats, all YouTube memberships, basically anything that's tied to donating or subscribing in a financial way to us is going to charity. We're not touching any of it. It's all going for a good cause. We're going to have a great weekend. We have a lot of games.
He then brings up the golf tournament and plays a portion of Carl's video. He doesn't play a portion from my video in specific when I delve into the years of 2019, 2021, and 2022, where I skip 2020 because the golf tournament doesn't occur, because it shows up in various photo streams for every other year but 2020, which is most likely due to the fact that COVID lockdown, especially in California, prevented people from coming together. So you can excuse 2020. So he mentions the accuser's alleged money is missing, but he claims the books reconcile this. And the accusations are a result of bad math, quote unquote. So speaking for myself, when I was assessing their charity, I actually gave tons of leeways to them in factoring in processing fees and basically lowballing as much as I absolutely could. I didn't decide to make any statements of fact in that entire assessment. I was just looking at 4 pillars of revenue sources, right? Which again, was a topic of real contention publicly after Gerard's video came out. So to understand, my point is that reasonably, I was just seeing if the revenue listed on the Open Hand Foundation's public tax filings was absolutely 100% definitive. So I had 4 income sources, right? The Tiltify donation, which goes right from Tiltify to the Open Hand Foundation's bank account, the grants from Jamie Lee Curtis, and the possible difference of money that, again, looking at their own goddamn branding from 2022 and 2023, all bits, subs, and donations go to the Open Hand Foundation. So yes, they're all getting sent to the Open Hand Foundation, and they should be shown as revenue. Again, then I also looked into the golf revenue, and what the mismatch I found was when I added the Tiltify and the Jamie Lee Curtis, the amount of money that could reasonably be given as a leeway to the golf revenues and the Twitch, YouTube
Hold on a second. I'll let that play though.
revenues, that seemed a bit suspicious to me. Now, this is a key point that Gerard can use to provide the books and shut any speculation or any assumptions out completely. Remember, if anybody has the hardline proof for the books, it's him, and he can provide those receipts. So in this video, he claims the 2019 IndieLand net proceeds were $82,409.19.
The 2019 IndieLand's net proceeds were $82,409.19.
Now, the information we used was $109,418, which are the 2019 preliminary total earnings. Again, if you want to get into the definition of preliminary net income or preliminary earnings, it's a term used to refer to the total expected net income of a business and organization before any final adjustments are made. Now, again, if you had this number, $82,409.19, you clearly have it. Why don't you show us an actual accounting of it? Why don't you show us the actual receipt on the video? He doesn't. He just gives us a number and expects me to just reasonably believe it, which again, looking at all of the misstatements he's made, how am I reasonably supposed to take anything this man says as gospel? And again, why wasn't this posted at all? Again, I tried to look up this number, $82,409.19, just to see if IndieLand actually amended this and made another public post about the 2019 earnings. I seriously couldn't find any actual post about IndieLand 2019 and $82,409. So again, why wasn't this updated? Again, if you have the numbers, please show the exact receipt of it. Then he also mentions the revenue from the golf tournament is $31,371.55.
And when combined with $31,371.55 in revenue from the golf tournament and $10,000 from a direct supporter, it adds up to $123,780.74.
Again, if you have the revenue for it, please provide a receipt. He doesn't provide anything on the screen or in the description of the video. So anybody that says, but Muda, there's a lot of receipts here. Where the fuck are they? Are they in the room with me? I can't see them. How can anybody say that he provided a tangible receipt when he doesn't show anything on the screen, when it doesn't show anything linked in the description below? It literally requires you to take this man's word, which over the course of this whole investigation has shown you should do anything but take his word, without actual receipts. And again, I try to use as many sources that I can to reasonably deduce these revenue sources. Like I said, when I looked at their 2022-2023 IndieLand and saw all BitSubs donations go to the Open Hand Foundation, it wasn't me mistakenly assuming that things should be reflected on its revenue. I really did attempt my very best at trying to identify the possible revenue sources for that lowballed math that I did. You can say bad math, but again, I am lowballing based on what I can reasonably deduce. I'm not trying to claim that you embezzled. He's using the E word a whole lot over here. I'm not claiming that you're embezzling millions of dollars. That's a very serious claim to be making. But I am reasonably suspicious about the reported revenues, and that's something that can easily be rectified had you provided a receipt, which, according to this video in general, he has not provided any tangible receipt for that at all, when he should have, in my opinion. So throughout this, when he mentions the $125,000 administration costs, he uses the word embezzlement again. I never claimed that word, and throughout this entire investigation, he constantly keeps using the E word in this situation. If anything, I looked at the expense buckets in those filings and questioned why they're just buckets. What he did in this video is actually start itemizing expenses.
As for what the costs are to run an event like this, there are event organizers, venue expenses, crafts and catering, event dinners, support staff, production equipment, rentals, event branded merchandise, security, insurance, and
so you clearly know that you're itemizing your expenses. Like, for instance, the golf charity, which he claims, hey, listen, we have to pay for insurance. We have to pay.
I was watching and listening to a video about a charity fraud. All right. Well, hey Piper. Hey Piper. Come here. I got you. I got you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey. That. Hi, Alice. Are you trying to sniff for her? Oh, yeah. Put you on the. I'm gonna put you on the microphone. It's a little bit quiet today. So I've been playing my game and then listening to this guy talk about this charity. Yeah, she is chilling. Panda's over there on that chat.
Panda,
Yeah, he's in the chat. Yeah.
Does Panda want to see the sparkle?
The sparkle. Yeah, show it. Show it off. That's her ring. Oh.
Interesting.
That vest is fantastic. She went in my ear. This felt weird. If I knew she'd stay here, it'd be really cool.
Keeps wanting down the puppy coat. Just keeps doing Dad?
Yeah, he said congrats on the ring. Yeah,
It's so sparkly.
it was a fantastic engagement proposal.
What did Dad say? Okay.
Okay. We have another one, Maggie, but she isn't as playful as Piper, so I don't know if she'll react well to being in here away from her habitat.
Nope, going down my back.
Right now, I see her on camera. She's just crawling all over you.
Alice is down here like, let me play with it.
Hi, Alice. Yo, Pizzy. Hello, welcome to the chat. I'm not handsome. You must be talking about Piper.
Yes, you are. I mean, Trotsky's back there, maybe.
It's got to be Chotsky. Yeah, Pizzy's got to be talking about Chotsky.
Ma'am?
You gonna come back over here? I gotta show Pizzy. I don't think Pizzy's seen you. Got you. I got you. Pizzy, this is Piper. She's camera shy. Camera shy.
Really wants to know what's up with the vest.
It's nice and warm because I wore it when I walked the dogs earlier. Do you want a pet rat, Pizzy? Do you like pet rats? If we ever do a Disneyland trip together, we'll bring the rats. Oh, she's in my hair. Tickled.
Oh.
And she's gone.
I was rubbing her belly.
Yeah.
I got to rub her belly.
Aw, I
And then
never
she
get
jumped
to.
on me.
I never ever get to. Hera? What do you mean, Hera? Is that your snake? Don't tell me you have a snake, Pizzy. Because he says he'd be thrilled to see Piper. That doesn't sound good for Piper.
It sounds like a rat name. Or a rabbit. That'd be a good rabbit.
Would rabbits eat rats? Oh, your cat. Oh.
Yeah. Mr. Williams threatened to get his Sphinx on my rats.
Mr. Williams is mean.
Mr. Williams is okay, what are you...
Pizzy. Leanne also has something to show you. He didn't see the ring. We got engaged, Pizzy. Piper isn't concerned with our good news, though.
No.
Hi. Perfect. Ooh.
She's kind of sliding.
Ooh, and she's digging her claws in. That's really I just shaved my head last night, so that was really sensitive. Congrats. Well, thank you, Pizzy. Thank you.
Okay, you get a haircut in a few hours.
Piper is just enjoying running around. Yes, she is, man. She is. We can never get her to stay still with us. And Maggie is scary. She jumps off of your arm. She scared me the other day so bad. She jumped off my arm and like fell 5 feet straight to the floor. She was okay, but my goodness, that rat
Right
will
in front of the
escape.
dog.
Yeah, right in front of Alice, who is very hungry for anything that she sees.
Well, she's not hungry for it. She doesn't try to eat them. She just wants to find out if it's squishy in her mouth. She just tried to put her in there real easily that one time. I think she thinks they're like a toy or something.
It's very concerning.
I mean, it's not what we want, but she isn't like actively trying to eat it like it's food.
Yeah, not ideal.
Hey, I keep trying to put it back on you, but she just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
She can go back to her cage then and chill with Maggie. Ah, congratulations on finishing your first semester. Alrighty. She did great.
Girl. Okay.
Well, that sounds pretty promising, Pizzy. What'd you go to school for? And dang it, I done lost my hat, y'all. That's fine. I guess people gotta know I'm bald at some point. Well, we were gaming, but we're actually looking into this video too. That's been really interesting.
For security, we have to pay for the event venue. You know what that is? That's itemizing your expenses. So instead of writing, I spent $5,000 in a golf tournament in 2023, break that shit down. Tell us, you're a public charity, this should be given. You should be breaking this down, especially when it comes to running a charity like this. Why you have not provided any receipt is insane. So throughout this investigation too, he claims that it's not illegal
Luna
to hold
would do
funds.
that with Piper.
No one claimed that it's actually illegal to hold funds. What the claim here is you never made it readily apparent that you were stockpiling for a restricted donation. Clearly to the audience you were soliciting these public donations from. Had you done this, there would be no story. He plays a portion of my video where I bring up the 5% rule to private foundations, and then he talks and questions that, hey, we're actually a public charity, so this doesn't apply to us. How can I, Gerard, reasonably believe that they were a public charity, when their own filings in 2021, 2022 didn't even reflect that? He releases some letter today thinking that it's supposed to exonerate him. A, I'm not a clairvoyant. I don't know that letter until today. And also, even looking at that letter, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's other questions that are raised. According to your filings now, because of that letter you released. Why don't your 2021 and 2022 filings reflect a change to a public charity? Why don't you specifically mention that you were under a 60-month termination period throughout the years that you were under that 60-month termination period? These are questions that I have to ask.
Medical
Again,
billing
can take
and
clerical
coding.
errors,
Congrats
but that's
on
why
that.
audits
Medical
happen,
billing's a
because
good
there
field,
are
man.
Fucking clerical errors, and they need to not be
Luna
clerical
already
errors.
played with a
So
little
then
rat.
there's another
Didn't try to eat
situation
her,
here,
but
too. He
pounced
claims
on
that
it
on a
trying to play with it.
dollar
Oh,
raise
that's
from India
horrible.
never went to benefit him, clearly contradicting
Luna's
how
a
he
big
used
old
those
pup
Switch
too,
donations to
so
offset
she
the
wouldn't be
event
too gentle
expenses,
despite
despite
trying to be
clearly claiming
gentle.
he never touched any of that money, and it all went to charity. Again, how can anyone take that shit differently whatsoever? He spends the next part of this getting like visibly heated, and he mentions charity fraud and starts mentioning other allegations too, like embezzlement and the forgery. But again, I want to just whittle this back to the definition of charity fraud. Again, misrepresented statements during Indieland are incredibly serious. And going back to even the one statement he made about the UCSF and them being the main funding partners, that clearly contradicts what the Open Hand wrote to us. Again, he keeps mentioning embezzlement when that wasn't even the point. No one is claiming that you're embezzling.
So the completionist did name the UCSFS as their primary supporter for the charity for dementia research and everything, but in that video that this guy here is talking about, the completionist never ever acknowledged that he apologized for naming that charity despite them never seeing a cent. And when they did finally donate the $600,000, they weren't the primary persons to get that. So again, he lied and never donated to the people that he said he was a primary supporter financially to.
Or even cooking the books. Now, that's a pretty serious claim to be making in regards to embezzlement and forgery and everything. But I want to whittle it instead of letting this whole situation conflate out the charity fraud, which, again, audits, even if they happen, and even if every dollar is properly accounted for, which, like I said earlier, given the fact that they made a donation, I'm sure that they could actually beat an audit. But just because you beat an audit doesn't mean you're clear out of the situation. The principal complaint, the principal accusation here, was the fact that there was charity fraud. Misstatements were happening. You were raising money without properly declaring the intentions and the goals of this charity. You had mentioned directly working with actual other charitable organizations or groups, misrepresented those situations. And again, I hate to see that this situation is slowly being ignored. Like, that point, it really felt like in this 19-minute response was barely addressed. You can't just say, oops, I'm sorry that happened. You can't just say that you made potentially misleading statements when I've played statements here that are not potentially misleading as far as my beliefs go, as far as my understanding goes. And even when it comes to misrepresentations, again, please listen to the exact clips that you yourself made on your own streams. That's the question that I want to bring it back to. That was the principal argument. And again, you stockpiled those donations. You, I guess, want to retcon the story and say it was always your intention for restricted donations, when in reality, even your Discord call with us, you had made it pretty much apparent that, hey, when I found out in 2022, I was like, that's not fucking cool. You mentioned a private argument between your family, your father, and you about this entire situation. So evidently, it doesn't seem like you guys were on the same page. But even beyond all of it, the principal reason for why this money appears to be donated, and one of the principal reasons, not the entire reason, was because we applied a lot of pressure, as you mentioned in the call. Me and Carl specifically, who first sent a letter to your organization, lit a fire under your guys' ass. And at the end of the day, look, I don't care if I'm like a villain or you want to paint me as a villain or a bad guy because I looked into this situation. You can fucking puff your chest out all you want. But if being the bad guy means putting somebody like you to task and making sure that this donation even happened in the first place, and now people who were suffering from Alzheimer's finally have some extra gas in the tank to fight the debilitating condition that they have, then I guess if that makes me the bad guy, goddamn, I guess I'm the bad guy. I mean, it doesn't really, rip away sleep from me. And at the end of the day, when it comes to this entire situation of potential litigation, which, again, a lot of people have said that there's a lawsuit. Look, it's America. You can sue God if you wanted to, okay? It's the land of the lawsuit. And there's no perfect time to ever get sued. Nobody likes getting sued. Nobody likes suing. But the thing about lawsuits is, obviously, he was saying that the family is looking into it. I don't know what the future for that is. But at the end of the day, charity fraud is the principal argument that we wanted to see addressed, and we failed to see properly addressed in this situation. You can't just put a Band-Aid on it and say, ooh, oopsie, and deflect and mention irrelevant points at the end of the day. Because this response that he made wasn't filled with crazy receipts. A lot of the people on the internet that were like, wow, there's so many fucking receipts in this. Watch the whole video again. Please show me where the receipts are. Where did you see a bank statement? Where did you see any evidence of money flow? In fact, even looking in the description, tell me how many of those pieces of evidence really actually move the needle and exonerate him in this entire situation of making misleading statements. Accusing anybody of slander. There's no malicious intent over here. We wanted to make sure the money was donated to the right place. And at the end of the day, it seems like the money is donated to the right place. Should misleading statements have been made? No. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Mutahar, and yeah, I'm out.
Yup. Yep, that charity. It's a sad thing that happened because there is a ton of inconsistencies with what he said, plus that one university that is doing good research for, dementia and trying to figure out how to either prolong, the good parts of it and eventually find a way to, they want to cure it, which, deterioration of the brain is something that you just can't simply cure. The body decays every day. So either way, there was $600,000 that didn't go to that. That's a lot of money. And especially putting them on their website as like, we support this. We're their primary bank for their research, and then not giving it to them in the end was kind of shitty. Super shitty. No, you're good. You missed, like, that was a good rant. Also, Panda, did you see about the day before? The developers of that game went down so bad. they went down so bad. Like, they actually put the company under, I believe.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you know, a couple days before I talked about a game called The Day Before, which is at one point considered Steam's most wish-listed game, meaning that Steam players apparently really loved this game to the point where they put the wishlist tag on and said, "Daddy, I can't wait till this drops so I can play it." Okay, that's true and all. But ladies and gentlemen, this game launched literally a couple days before. It launched the day before. And the studio shut down the day after. Now, normally I don't laugh when a studio closes, but these guys are not exactly the best studio in terms of anything. So again, if we're going to go back in time and look at one of their initial statements, to our future players who will dive into the game on December 7th, which literally is like, what, 4 days ago? We made this for you so you can enjoy the game and it becomes a celebration. So this is how we began. This is where we're at now. Today we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Oof. Unfortunately, the Day Before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. We've invested all our efforts, resources, and man-hours into the development of Day Before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches and reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of The Day Before. There was no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaigns. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into this game. At the moment, the future of The Day Before and Prop Night is unknown, but the servers will remain operational. I assume they probably have an agreement for like a certain time the servers are up there. And until that agreement ends, you can play this brilliant MMO extraction shooter that was supposed to be, as of today, still an open world MMO survival set in the present day on the US East Coast following a deadly pandemic. So again, we apologize if we didn't meet your expectation. We did everything in our power, but unfortunately we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor, so here they come with a whole year of their accomplishments. And of course, they finally ended 4 days after they released their biggest fucking game in the world. That's a correction. When I actually looked at this earlier on before we recorded the podcast, I swear to God, I thought we still had like a sale being made here. But it seems like the game isn't being sold, obviously, because it's shutting down. Now, if you look at the Steam reviews, you can see that, yes, it's overwhelmingly negative, but a common trope amongst them is product refunded, product refunded, product refunded, product refunded, product refunded. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, there's a few
This game
more
felt
things
hard.
to the story. Being
That
one
was,
of the most wish-listed games is pretty big. But to actually go down to the reality of it, in the 4 days this game was alive, it literally had a peak of around 38,000 players, 38,104 players, which was their all-time peak. Currently, that number dropped not before.
So I'm gonna pause that video. The thing is that extraction shooters are just incredibly boring. Tarkov is the only one that got it right. Every other game is just really, 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 really awful. The model can't work on every game, and turning it what they sold as an open world MMO and putting all this ambitious stuff into their trailers, into a massive landscape you could adventure into, just really big disappointment all around. They really screwed themselves up on that. That's for sure. Okay, my progress was recently saved. All right, let's change our games. I'm not feeling Alaskan Road Truckers. That game just didn't turn out to the hype that they set up either. It's kind of just rough. It's a rough. Let's see if we can play a game that does work. Oh, it would have been a huge game. Even if they did crowdfunding and to make themselves more accountable for what they are actually selling, rather than spending 5 years creating something that was never meant to be released, then they would have ended up in such a better boat. They really would have.
James, I don't want to alarm you, but there is someone in the shadows watching you.
Yo, Dan. I'm still here, just recording for Sunday. Yeah, this week's show's pre-recorded. You didn't hear nothing from me. I don't know nothing about that. Let's change everything over. Let's do a little bit of Fallen Order. I've been meaning to get back to this game. It's a fantastic one. I guess I don't really need to change any kind of game on there. I do need to change it over here. You guys get to see the back panels. Done. Alright. They didn't even really work on it. $300 asset flip for the city, $50 for zombie character models, $40 for character face models. The biggest thing I saw people really upset about too was they didn't even have the basics of a melee mechanic to fight off the zombies that came up close to you, so they just really ended up screwing everybody over. Okay, now I'm gonna have to remember how to play this game all over again. Yeah, they did nothing themselves. I don't know if they actually did crowdfunding or not. It feels like they did, and they took a ton of pre-orders and special editions, if I remember correctly. So I meditated. We're leveled up. I don't know what's going on in this game. I think we're supposed to go and chill up here. Kind of just waiting on travel. You don't think they did crowdfunding? Okay, so maybe it was just mainly pre-orders.
Ready to go?
That they were, you know, screwing up everything on. I can't remember where I'm at. I know I had certain powers and follow-ups now that could help me, but I legit just don't remember what's going on here.
You know, even after all the action you two bring, I still get a thrill watching the games.
And as long as you keep your habits in check.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I'm just a spectator. No gambling or nothing going on.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking pure entertainment. Nothing gets me going more
all right, man.
than watching a couple slubs square off.
Good luck with that.
Just slick moves and brute force.
Captain, I am slightly troubled by your enthusiasm for something so barbaric.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it is true. Totally barbaric, but still kind of entertaining. All right, we're here. Get in your chair.
If only Starfield did that. Like, Starfield needs this so bad. Jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay. Oh. What's up? Okay, honey. Yeah, I'll keep her. Love you. Alright, let's go. We gotta talk to Grease, looks
I'm
like.
busy. I gotta figure out what to cook next.
Let's talk later, Cal.
We need to try to play some Pokemon Online again too sometime. Yeah, for sure.
Normally, I wouldn't waste my time with the likes of insurgents. But I'm looking for a Jedi Padawan. And I know he's been here. And for that, all of you will suffer.
No, that doesn't sound good for those people. Those poor souls. Those poor souls.
Choisek and Mari drew a map to your rendezvous point with Tarful.
Mari said you were overrun. I didn't realize it would be this bad.
It's always this bad with the Empire. But there's still a chance for your quest.
I'll find a way to help you.
You've done more than your share. Thank you, Cal. It's good to see you're safe.
Sorry I couldn't be here sooner, but I haven't given up on Kashyyyk.
It's dangerous here. Saul's already gone. The casualties are just too high.
No. If you leave, the Wookiees lose support.
Not all. Mari is staying behind with Choisek and Tarful. Some of our troops went with them.
And you?
My child already lost one parent. I can't stay. But myself and the others will find a new way to serve the cause.
Be safe, Miriana. Let's go, BD.
Wait. Oh, there was something for BD to work with. Okay. Okay, let's see. Is there a map? How do I get to the map? Okay. Via the Overgrown Pass. So that's my next task. Okay. Now I remember how to navigate at least.
Let's move, BD.
Yo, Dan, thank you for that hydrate. Okay. Alright, we need to get down there. And I don't remember how. Yeah. Oh, okay. I remember how. Kinda. Oh, shit.
Get in here! Out of the way! I'm hit! You'll have to try harder. Here comes a grenade! Can't get through!
Take that, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, let me see.
Skill point acquired. Alright then. Alright. I need to go the other way. Actually, this is a shortcut, I believe. I've opened up all the shortcuts. No, I was wrong. It's taking me the opposite direction.
Jedi observed.
I'd like.
Oh.
Keep stopping my attack. I missed the target. Direct hit. An intruder. We'll vanquish you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh. Oh. Damn it. Damn it. Yeah, I forgot how to play this game completely, bro. Okay. Fuck. Okay, I don't remember how to get over there. Jesus Christ. I already forgot how to platform, all that shit. Nope. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
Cal, do you read me? Seer gave me your comm frequency.
Mari, are you okay?
I'm safe, unlike too many of the others. Did Mariana give you our rendezvous coordinates?
She did. I'm on my way.
Good.
We're just reaching them now, but we can't stay long. The Empire's looking for us.
I'll be there as soon as I can. Stay close, BD. Those things seem fast.
Ooh, I do have. So we got lightsaber techniques, delay thrust, burst slow, allows Cal to slow all targets around him, increases slow duration on target enemies, Cal's maximum force. Okay, dokie. We should probably do that one. Damn. Damn.
We found the Jedi. This won't end well. Get up there. Smash him. I'm firing. Got it. Gotcha. Target is mobile. Reloading. Fire on a weapon. We're out of heavy gunners. Hit him again. I'm not doing all the work. Stay back.
Fuck.
Jedi scum. You will not deny me. I won't falter. Poor technique. Die, Jedi.
I could use a stim. Mari, are you there? I'm almost to the Shadowlands, at the wreck of a walker.
Saw managed to take one out in the escape.
Is he with you?
No, not anymore. We can talk about it when you get here.
Good job, BD.
Woo! Oh my god. Woo.
Nice job. BD, I think this is your strength. Having a good time, BD? I knew you'd jump in there. Huh, there's something in there.
The Guardian, huh? Hold on a moment. Had to be what? Oh, they never got.
Why didn't you tell me when I told you? Okay. Talked about. Oh, I want. Person. Oh. All the money. Don't make no. I. Saturday.
Ooh. Alrighty. Let's see. I think it already saved my game. Alright, y'all. We're going to call it here today. And I'll see you guys soon on the next one. Just figuring that out. When will be fun. Alright. Have a good night. Bye-bye.